Hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the first episode of a new series that we're going to do on the channel called Out of My League, which is a phrase I've heard a lot of in my short but colourful life. In this series we're going to have a look at some of the more obscure leagues in the world of football and just basically see what they're all about. And because their 2019 season has just recently kicked off, we're going to have a look at the MLS this week, Major League Soccer. Now we have of course chatted about the MLS on this channel before, but things have changed in the past couple of years, so we're going to see what changes have been made to the league and how that's affected it going forward. So without any further ado, Freddie Adu, he was American, played in the ML. Never mind. Without further ado, let's have a look at Major League Soccer, the MLS. The concept of the MLS was conceived in 1993 in accordance with the USA's successful 1994 World Cup bid. The first season of the league kicked off in 1996, which only had 10 teams participating. Truth be told, the first few seasons of the MLS weren't brilliant, as teams were playing in half-empty American football stadiums and the league lost millions of dollars in that time. Two teams also were forced to fold in 2002. Since then, however, there's been a huge upturn in fortune and interest in Major League Soccer, with the league expanding to 24 teams, teams having soccer-specific stadiums, and pulling in average audiences higher than that of the NBA and NHL. The MLS is a single entity, which means that Major League Soccer owns every team in the league. They are, however, operated and ran by individual investors. The most successful team in the history of the league is the LA Galaxy, with 5 MLS Cup victories and 4 Supporter Shields, followed by DC United with 4 MLS Cups and 4 Supporter Shields. So how does the league actually work? As of 2019, the league has expanded to 24 teams. These 24 teams are split into 2 groups of 12 and split into the Eastern and Western Conference. A single team will play the other teams within their conference both home and away, and will play 1 game against each team in the opposite conference, adding up to 34 league games played. Once that 34-game season is played, we go into the MLS playoffs. The team that accumulates the most points out of both conferences will take home the Supporter Shield. This Supporter Shield victory also gives the team that wins it the home advantage throughout the playoffs. 14 teams make it into the MLS Cup playoffs, and as of 2019 it is now a single elimination tournament all the way to the MLS Cup final, which is played in early November. The current holders of the Supporter Shield are the New York Red Bulls, and the current holders of the MLS Cup trophy are Atlanta United, having beaten Portland Timbers 2-0 in the MLS Cup final. In regards to qualification for continental competition, 5 MLS teams will make it into the qualifying stages, 4 American and 1 Canadian team. The 4 teams that make it are the winners of MLS Cup, the Supporter Shield winners, and both conference winners. The Canadian team is predicated on who wins the Canadian Championship. If a team qualifies in multiple ways, for example via winning the Supporter Shield and MLS Cup, then that 4th place will go to the next highest ranked team in the Supporter Shield race. So how do players come into and out of the league? Well, this is possibly the most convoluted and complicated part of this video, so listen up people. There are 3 main ways in which this can occur. The most basic and well-known form of bringing players in and out of the league is via the standard transfer and loan systems, where teams will pay a fee to either transfer in or loan a player in for the season. There's also the MLS Super Draft. This is when the top college prospects comes together and the MLS clubs are able to pick which player they want on their team. The order is determined by last season's standing, so whoever performed the worst will pick first, second worst will pick second, and so forth and so forth. This process happens every single year, and this is one of the most highly anticipated processes in the MLS transfer sagas. Well, what are those other drafts, I hear you cry? Well, for example, there is the waiver draft. At the end of every season, a team picks a certain amount of players that they want to keep on their roster, and the players that don't make the cut are wavered. From there, they're put into the waiver draft, where once again, teams pick the players that they would like on their team from that pool of players. There's also the re-entry draft, where players who weren't picked up in that waiver draft, they go into a sort of contract expiry / free agency sort of pool, and from there, they can be picked up by any team. The MLS works on a salary cap system, which means every team is given a certain amount of money that they cannot go over in regards to wages. However, there is an exemption to this known as the designated player rule, where teams can bring 3 players into their club and pay them whatever they so desire, and it won't affect the salary cap. The likes of David Beckham, Kaká, Frank Lampard, Andrea Pirlo, Cuauhtemoc Blanco have all been part of this designated player process throughout the years, as well as a plethora of other superstars. This adds an air of legitimacy to the league, thereby adding intrigue and interest in the league itself. So there we go, that is Major League Soccer. Now of course there are plenty of other places where you can go far more in depth into the runnings of Major League Soccer than I have here, although this is just to give you a brief introduction to the league and how it is run and operated. If you haven't already, please do hit that like and subscribe button, and do hit the bell icon so you're notified of when we make new videos such as this. We also have a PES Master League series with Newcastle United, we do Premier League reaction videos and general other football based tomfoolery. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.